All right, welcome back, YouTube preppers. Prepping outside the box. I'm Josh, and we are going to go over night movement. I've got all my notes set up over here right now so I don't lose my train of thought, and I will because I like to ramble sometimes, but we're going to go over night movement, and it's just a couple of the aspects of it. I know most of you heard cells, the stop, look, listen, smell. We are going to touch on that obviously because it's super important, but yeah, let's dive into it. Well, actually, right before we do, if you guys don't mind, go ahead and hit a like, hit a subscribe. If you want to hear any more videos from me or anything like that, it does help us grow, and I appreciate it. So let's get to it. All right, so on night movement, we're going to start off with light, right? And we're talking about basically different colored lights, natural, all that kind of stuff. So on the light side of it, red lights are going to be your least visible, obviously. And I know a lot of you know this stuff, so I'm not trying to mess with your intelligence, but for the people that don't know, red light's going to be your least seen color from distances and things like that, right? That's why people use it for tack lights and things like that. If you're reading, if you just need a quick viz on something, it will distort some colors for you, but it's going to help you get things done, move around stuff, whatever you need to do at night. Your eyes are more sensitive to green, kind of like the reason you have night vision, it's in the color green. It's that helps the acuity on the stuff, helps you your vision and stuff like that. Now, long-term use of that will still mess with your eyesight. It'll still mess with your natural night vision. All right. So like I was saying a second ago, do use red. I prefer it anyways, and this is an opinion piece, but use red to avoid being seen at some distances if you're going to be doing anything. And red light will also diminish your night vision if used too long. Any light will really diminish your night vision if used too long. But I'm just saying, even though you would think of it as a safer alternative, if you do use it too long, it will diminish it. White light, of course, being the worst to be using during night movement. It's going to show your position, of course. It's going to show your movement and things like that. And white light will utterly destroy your natural night vision. And a good way to find this out, so you want to see how bad it is, go for a walk. Take your family or whatever for a walk and take your little EDC carry, take one of your flashlights out there, one you ever plan on using, and just highlight the road and just highlight up ahead where you're going, look around for a little bit, look around for a good like 5 seconds and click it off, and then look around and see where you're at. Because you'll see what I'm saying. You're not shining it in your eyes, which is even worse, but the light itself will diminish it. All right, so staying on the subject of light, there is an MIT technical study, right? And it shows, and you can Google how far the human eye can see like fire and things like that. And there's people that throw out, 30 miles or kilometers, something like that. In reality, a human eye can detect a flame at 2.76 kilometers, right? So keep that in mind. I bring up that it's an actual study that they did on this because they were trying to get the specific number that a human eye, obviously one that is good visually, can see a burning candle flame, right? So that would be the distance. Obviously, you have things that can obscure your vision and things like that. But 2.76 kilometers, keep that in mind, that all this stuff at night is just amplified, right? All right, big thing I want you guys to do. If you are doing movements at night, and this is big for hunting and other things too, but consider moonlight, right? If you're planning things, you're planning supply runs, you're planning on moving, maybe you're waiting during an SHTF to get out at night. Maybe it's safer in your mind or whatever it is. Consider moonlight, whether it's a new moon, a full moon, waning, whatever it is. Consider the amount of illumination you're going to get from the moon. Sometimes it's like, almost daylight out there with how bright that thing can be, right? So keep that in mind, keep it in consideration. Your plans might change because you're way too visible, right? If you are fortunate enough to have night vision, and I know there's a whole bunch of different kinds out there, and there's a whole bunch of people out there that are probably way smarter than me on different variations of them. I've only used a few, but if you do have something like that, kudos, that's awesome. just keep in mind the depth perception you're going to have, the issue with that. If you haven't used them a lot, train with them, practice with them, walk at night with them, feel how it is, because there is a depth perception problem with at least the ones that I've used. And also, like we were talking about, green light diminishing some of your eyesight. The prolonged use of night vision can do the same thing, right? You're not going to go blind, but it's going to mess with you, right? So keep that in mind. So going over stills, right? The stop, look, listen, smell. We've already stopped, right? We've already, well, not listened yet. Hold on. We've already looked, right? But we went over lights, went over colors, went over distances and things like that to consider when you're looking around, right? If you're looking forward, you're imagining someone looking at you. I like to say, think as a bad guy and how you would hurt yourself or capture or whatever. So you're also thinking both sides. For the noise part, for the listen part, and I add this in here, depending on how loud someone's being is going to depend on how far you can hear them, right? Depending on the surrounding, weather, environment, whatever's going on is going to affect how far you can hear. However, at night, things travel way further. So if you ever want to test this out, you got a good field, go in a field and you and your friend take off walking one direction and just keep talking. Just talking normal. And let your friends stay back and let them listen to how far they can hear your conversation. It's actually a pretty fun little thing to do. But you go off and you can actually get an idea of the distance of talking normal and how much that would give your position away and things like that. But the longest recorded hearing in Guinness Book of World Records is 10.5 miles, and that is in perfect conditions. Still waters, right? It was over still waters and things like that, but hearing voice. Not everyone's going to be some crazy hearing like that, but just to give you an idea, the human ear is pretty good, right? I get into noise on this part because I want to remind people to put on their gear and sling their weapon or whatever you're using. Go over it and see what's loud. Try to silence things on your sling. Silence. If it's already quiet, it's quiet, cool. But try to silence your gear. Try to silence your weapon. Try to silence what you'd be wearing and things like that. So when you're walking, you're not clanking and rustling and making excessive noise that you don't need to be making, right? And then the last thing on sale that we're going to go over is smell, right? A big part of this, before I even get into it, because people go, well, I'll be upwind, downwind. Consider your weather, which includes, wind and things like that, rain and all that. But consider your weather. But things like cigarettes, for a guy that does not smoke, or girl, you can smell it very far, right? So consider if you are a smoker or anything like that, if there's someone around you that has not smoked in a while or doesn't at all, it is a very strong scent, right? If they're downwind from you, it's going to be noticeable. Filth, yes. I mean, people go without showers. They get nasty, unhygienic. They're gonna smell. Scented things like perfumes and all that kind of stuff. Maybe they're not wanting to smell bad and thinking that it's a good idea to put things like that on. Whatever it is, big thing for like hunting. The reason you put unscented deodorant, wash your clothes, and unscented laundry detergent, things like that, because those scents are very strong. And also food. Consider when you're cooking and things like that. But smell, I'm not exactly sure, and if someone wants to jump in the comments and share some knowledge about this, I don't really know exactly how far someone would be able to smell certain things. I know a lot of it is contingent on the weather, where you're at, but just keep those in mind when someone is doing sills on you or you're doing it on someone else. This kind of things you're trying to pick up on, right? Knowing where you're at. If you smell something, are you downwind? Where your position is. But yeah, so we went over light, red lights, green lights, talking about what's going to be better to use tactically, which is going to be giving your position away, diminishing your night vision, things like that. Remember, flames can be seen at a very far distance. At night, things can be heard a very far distance. Things are amplified. And go over these. I highly encourage you to do that noise test with your friends. If you've never done it before, it gives you a very, very good idea visually of what I'm saying. It's kind of hard for me to say noise travels far at night, and then you go, yeah, okay, well, where? How far? Walk in a field and find out. It's fun. But that's everything I wanted to go over for night movement. It's not going over anything except for basically considerations and things to think about while you're going around. Anyways, I'm prepping outside the box. Josh, and I will see you tomorrow.